know when the right time was, to turn pro?
I mean, I do have my eye on a guy called Josh Adewale.
Obviously, I always say to people, be humble in your winnings and be humble in defeat. I'm KD.
And I'm Sham. And together we are Boxing and Bantz. So, people, today we are joined by rising star middleweight boxer, CHAVEZ Julio Campbell, holding an impressive record of 3 wins. CHAVEZ, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure.
Amazing. So we are in the middle of a pandemic, things are easing up, but how are you coping with, obviously your training, gyms have been shut, and it's only open for obviously boxers who are competing. How are you, how's it all going?
It's going all right. I mean, obviously I've just been making the most of what I have in terms of training. Like, for instance, I've got like a big bro, he runs a little session and here and there, and I go to it. It's every single Saturday. So I'm a part of that. And I do my runs and stuff. And, I've had some sparring as well, like, because there's been some fights coming up. I've had the likes of sparring like Chris Congo, Billy Jackson, and a few other names as well. So I've had the pleasure of sparring them during this pandemic and lockdown. So I've learnt a few things as well. So it's been good.
Impressive.
Good. So CHAVEZ, tell me a little bit about your amateur career, because I understand you've had a decent one. How did that go?
I started boxing at Haringey, and then I went over to Finchley, Del Youth, Repton, and all in all, I had about maybe 120 fights, maybe a bit more because I've done some unlicensed boxing as well. But yeah, I've had quite a lot of experience. I mean, I've boxed for Finchley, and Finchley was probably the club that gave me the most of my fights and most of my experience, and Repton as well. Obviously, being at Del Youth, you've got the likes of, I was there when James DeGale and Jules Groves were there, so I had a pleasure of seeing them train as amateurs and stuff like that. So it was good.
How did you know when the right time was, to turn pro? How do you make that decision?
Do you know what it was? I was at the time when I turned pro. Like before that, I felt like I wanted to stop. Like, obviously I had a few problems in life, financial, stuff like that, problems. And I just thought, I want to stop. I want to stop boxing because obviously it's not paying anything, around the house, just amateur boxing. And I don't know, I had a little break, and I don't know, I said, I want to start boxing again, but I wanted to turn pro. And when I turned pro, it was like, I don't know, I just felt a breath of fresh air. I just felt like this was it for me again. And then what was it? I went with a guy called Alec Wilkie. He took me for my first 2 pro fights, and obviously I progressed on from there. After that, I went on to meet Zav, and now we're just working, man, just building up. Obviously, at the moment, Portugal with Dillian White, training him for his fight in part 2, which would be a win. So I'm waiting for everyone to come back. When we're back on working again in IQ.
Can imagine. So what would you say is the biggest difference between your amateur career and, obviously you turning pro this far?
With my amateurs, it was fun. Like, now it was fun. Like, anybody out there that's like trying to turn pro from amateur, I'll say take your time, don't rush it. Things I didn't take in, like, for instance, like let's say I'll box, but I wouldn't like take the experience with my next fight. So the difference between the amateurs and when I turned pro, I started to understand my body more. I started to understand what I can and I can't do. So I started to realize where my weaknesses were and where my strengths were. As an amateur, all you're ever told when you lose a fight or when you come up short is, oh, just run harder, train more. But no one actually gives you like specifics on what you need to actually work on. As a pro, and especially me, well, who's like a technician, a professor, that's what we call it. So meeting something like that tell you and sit you down and tell you where you're going wrong and what you need to correct, it's, that's what pros is for me. So since I've been a pro, I was like, I wish I started off at IQ. That's what I always say. then I keep saying, I wish I knew what I knew now as an amateur. So in terms of experiences, like, I feel like since I've turned pro, my boxing's progressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of what I know now and what I've picked up as a pro. So as an amateur, like I said, I've been sort of like getting through on my own sort of talent, let's say, or skill set that I know, or my mindset. But learning how to do something as a pro has progressed me. So it's brilliant. IQ's brilliant.
Amazing.
And just on that topic, actually, of IQ boxing, I think you changed over to IQ boxing and Zav Miller. Was it after your second pro fight? Yeah. So
yeah.
What was the thinking behind changing over to Zav, and why did you pick Zav and also IQ boxing?
All right. It's a bit of a complicated story, but I've got to go through it. So when I met Alec Wilkie, obviously he had a good stable of fighters, and he's still a good coach. He is a good coach. But, you know, after a while being there, you know, you start realizing, or you start having, like, I don't know, you have little doubts in yourself, like, okay, he wants to box like this, but I'm not sure I can. And I sort of needed a coach that understood me. Yeah. So I left, and we kind of had a bit of an argument, but I still rate Alec Wilkie. I still like him. Like, you know, we're still good, still on good terms. Kind of a bit of an argument. I thought, you know what, I do need to find someone to train, because we're arguing because I can't be in the gym all the time because I've got work. So, you know, I had to go find myself somewhere to train. So the first choice was, I went to a guy, I can't remember his full name, but his name is Richard, and he trained down at McGwell's gym down in South London. Yep. And to him, he was going away on holiday at the time. Like, literally the day after I joined the gym, he went on holiday. So obviously we weren't training. So I think Robbie Chapman called me up to spar, and it was obviously, he's with Zav at the time. So obviously I went up to spar with him. Zav saw me, and he just took my number. From then, he was just keeping tabs on me, asking me to want to come down to spar, stuff like that. So I think I went down to Don's gym with him, and I sparred Jordan Joseph, who was about, I think he's a light heavyweight. Sparred him, and Zav said to me, I can see what you're trying to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So in my head, I kind of just thought, you know what, that's Zav saying that I'm going to be with you, like I'm going to train you. So from sort of then, I just said, yeah, this is the guy. Because while this guy's been away on holiday, Zav's been looking after me, calling me, making sure I'm all right, telling me to come down the gym, telling me the sparring here, the sparring there. So pretty much it was like a default, kind of by default, I ended up joining him, almost like a godsend. Like, I said to God, like, I need a coach.
It was meant to be, huh?
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's like, the coach, and I didn't know where to go, because it's like your coach sort of knows you. And it's like, when I found Zav, obviously when I was like working with him at first, it was just sparring. But actually being in the gym with him on the first session, where I actually hit the bag and we're working on fitness, building up our strength, all the type of stuff you do as a boxer, which is just normal anyway. I realized that the guy understands me. And then from then it was like, yeah, Zav's the guy. Zav's the coach. And the other guy didn't bother to call him back, but yeah, we won't talk about that.
Oh gosh. Okay, so let's go back 2019. Your fight against Justin Menzie.
Yeah.
So far, your first loss, your only loss. And what did you learn from watching that fight back?
I learned a lot. I learned never to underestimate people, and always respect everyone. I think in that fight, how I was in that fight, I saw him on paper, I saw him box, and I always looked at him knowing that he'll be awkward. But obviously, because I've had fights, I've boxed at high levels, I've boxed the likes of Ben Fell, Lewis Richardson, I boxed all these Johnny Coyle, all these guys like in the amateurs, I boxed all of them. And, you know, I thought, yeah, I've got this, like, you know, there's nothing to me. And I kind of went in the ring with that sort of mindset. And on the night, I didn't turn up. Like, just didn't turn up. Like I said, there's been loads of things behind the scenes that's happened. That's, you know, that could have affected that fight, which it did. But I'm not going to talk on it. I lost that fight fair and fair. And I feel like the fighter I am now, you know, is 50 million times better than what I was then. Because I feel like if I had won that fight. And many people told me I won that fight and said to me, oh, you won, you got robbed, I thought you won it. You know, Zav said to me he thought it was a draw. It should have been a draw. Me, deep down in myself, I said, you know what, I've got to be truthful to myself. I said, a performance you want to win on. And I said, you know what, some people say, oh, do you know what, yeah, you know, you want to win ugly, innit? But with me, it was like, do you know what, you got to be true to it. Did you feel that you lost that fight? I said, yeah, I did. I said, I did, because I was meant to do. You know, and if I won that fight, I feel like I would have brushed everything under the carpet that I didn't correct. But then it would have just been pending for another day. And it would have been pending probably for a bigger stage, you know? So I might go into a bigger stage now and think, yeah, I'm the guy, I'm undefeated. And then something happens because I haven't paid attention to what happened the last time. So all the mistakes I made in that fight, if I won, I feel like I would have just brushed it under the carpet. So now I've lost. I've taken the mistakes up one by one and I've corrected them. So next time I box, I'm ready, you know, mentally.
That's it. And, you know, obviously I always say to people, be humble in your winnings and be humble in defeat.
It's really good that you've taken it as a lesson learned. You know, some boxers can't do that. You know, some of them are, you know, can be sore losers, and I think you've taken it on board and you said, right, this is what I'm going to change and move forward. So that's a really good quality. So Chavez, I know you're quite tall. You're about 6'2". Is that right?
Yeah.
6'2". You got quite a long reach as well. You know, have you found your height and reach to be, you know, an advantage to you when you're in the ring?
Yeah, it is. It is. But being with IQ, you learn how to do everything. So, you know, I've been doing a bit of fighting, everything. It's boxing in the pocket. I can do everything now. Zab's reformed me. Like I said, I'm a different fighter. My mindset's different. So I know I can. There's things I've got in the arsenal now. Like I said, as an amateur, all you're told when you've got long reach is, oh, keep it long, don't let them get near you. But at some point in a fight, especially in pros as well, at some point in a fight, you're going to have to engage. Yeah. So you've got to know when you're engaged. And these are things in boxing I don't think, as an amateur, at certain clubs, and like I said, most clubs, you go to them because of their reputation, like Repton, big reputation, West Ham, big reputation, Del Youth, big reputation. So you hear about these clubs and you think, oh my God, these are the clubs I need to go to. I believe in a club. And you never ever pay attention to, you know, what really is happening. You know, it's only when you a massive circle you realize, bro, like this is where it was at the whole time. You know, so, you know what? I will say this as well. Say this, like, because I've got to be truthful to myself. If I met Zab when I was young, like probably 19, and you said IQ to me or knees and boxing, bro, they're rubbish because they're not repped. You know, I would have. But now, because I know who's there and I know what they actually are about, they're untouchable. That's why I look at they're untouchable. They know the ins and outs. They know. So big up IQ, man.
Do you think that people underestimate that gym?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about that now. I don't know about that now. It's somewhat yes, somewhat no. But they know that we know what we're doing, innit? So they're keeping an eye on us. But yeah, I could say somewhat yes, somewhat no.
Okay, so talk to us a bit about a short film we watched. You featured in it. It was called Lost Generation on YouTube. How did that come about?
Do you know what? I've been putting for a lot of short documentaries, and with me, I've always sort of wanted to give back to my community because obviously I got kicked out of school. I don't know if you know, probably if you've heard this in another interview, I got kicked out of school in year 7. So I went to a unit, a pro, and it kind of changed my life for the better. So me having that experience, that's what I wanted to do coming up, give back to the youth, etc., etc. I ended up getting a job in Westminster Kingsway College, trying to help youths, but it was a bit more like a sort of like, I was more like a support teacher role. So stayed there for a couple of months and I ended up working in a school. And now wasn't that, and you know, try to put their progress. But yeah, so touching onto this interview that I had, my input was just like, you know, youth clubs give kids something to do and teenagers something to do during the summertime and the half term and whatnot. So it keeps them off the roads, keeps them safe, gives them options as well. So that's what really the message I was trying to get out there. but I don't think anything's been done about that. You know how it is. But you know, if I can help a youth or a child or a teenager or a young person do better with himself, why not? As I'm trying to do as it is anyway. But
and that's what's missing. You know, obviously when I was growing up, there was loads of youth clubs that was going on. There was always something to do, whereas now there's nothing, and all the kids are just out there running riot. So
if you keep voicing it, something will eventually happen.
Of course, keep spreading awareness, isn't it?
Just keep doing it, man. That's of year. I work with year 4s right now, and like I said, it's more like a teaching role. Like I've had to take the whole class and do all this and do all that. So that's how I've kind of got into a school. But it all started with me wanting to help youth and give back to the community and try to stop youth, try to stop carrying weapons and knives and stuff like that. So
yes,
yeah, just hopefully something will happen. It will make a change. It will make a difference. You know, that video quite a bit because it does motivate people, and you know, especially people see me from my own area, they think that guy, you know, he's coming up. I don't know if you know who Zach is from Hollyoaks.
I don't know.
Ages ago, years ago.
But Zach used to live like round the corner from me, and me and him used to have beef. Like it was good to see him on TV. I thought, wow, like we're both evolved. Like I've turned pro and boxing, doing well for myself. He's on doing what he's doing. He's not in Hollyoaks anymore, but he was. But yeah, like I'm meeting him had a conversation, and we might do a short film or something like that. So hopefully that could come out soon, or we can materialize that or whatever. So yeah,
nice.
That would be good to see. That'd be good to see. So you know, last year you didn't get to fight, you know, professionally. What are your hopes? What have you been told about this year in terms of getting back out there, and who have you got your eye on?
I haven't been told anything. I have put a few names out there to people, and nothing's really materialized. Really, I'm just playing the waiting game, to be honest. If I'm honest, I mean, I do have my eye on a guy called Josh Adewale. We've both got the same record. We're both fourth. We're both lost one. We're both middleweights. He's MTK. I'm Goodwin. I did message NTK the other day about that fight. I messaged Goodwin, my promoter, about that fight. I haven't heard anything back. So, and I even messaged the guy about the fight, and he said, yeah. So, and I've done it in a respectful thing. So I'm still waiting to hear back. So Josh Adewale, if you see this, pick up the phone, boy. Like, let's get.
Call him.
Fingers crossed you get that fight. It'll be good for you.
I've got my eye on, but if another fight comes up, I'll take it.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
I know I'm at the bottom at the moment. Obviously, I've got 4 fights, right? So really, no one at the top is looking to be down at me going, I want to fight that guy, bring him up. It'll probably fall up. So I'm ready for that. But like I said, no one's actually looking at me like that. So I've got to look for fights more on my level or just a little bit above or whatever. So that's what I want right now, because I know they're not looking at me. But if I get a call up, I'm going to take it, because obviously, and it's televised, and that's how I'm going to get out there.
So, you know, remember, you know, you're fighting in a difficult time at the moment as well, you know. So and you might just be surprised. People are eager to get back and into the ring, you know. You might just be surprised at who you get in the ring with, you know.
Stay ready. You never know.
All the time.
Exactly. Well, CHAVEZ, aka Julio, it's been a pleasure. Listen, best of luck for your future fights. We will be watching, we will be posting. Tell the people where they can find you on social media, and big up your sponsors if you have any.
I don't have any sponsors. Actually, I kind of do. I'm just going to say IQ for I'm going to say IQ for now. Big up Bravo. Big up KMT Apparel, because they've given me some stuff as well. And I'm wearing their stuff as well. So yeah. What else? And my socials, Julio_CHAVEZ. And that's really what I'm on, really. I don't really use any of that other stuff, to be honest with you. Twitter, I'm not really a Twitter person. Instagram's where you can find me at, really.
Cool.
And yeah,
Brilliant.
That's it, really.
CHAVEZ, thank you again for joining us. It's been a lovely, lovely interview. So don't forget, guys, we are Katie and Sham at Boxing and Bantz, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
All right. Thank you guys for having me on.